Now, we talked about this yesterday, didn't we? Interesting stuff from Paul Pogba about his future. Like I've always said, Real Madrid is a dream for anyone. It's one of the biggest clubs in the world. There is also Zidane as a coach, and it's a dream for anybody who likes football. For now, I'm at Manchester. We don't know what the future holds. I'm at Manchester, and I'm happy. Gab, I want to start with you because there's no chance he's going to go to Real Madrid in the summer, is there? That's not going to happen.
Well, a number of things would have to come together in the sense that Real Madrid would most likely have to get rid of either Luka Modric or Toni Kroos, which may be doable, may not be. They're both on a ton of money, and obviously Modric is getting older. If a big offer were to come in and United were happy to let him go, and Pogba made a big enough fuss, there's no reason it couldn't happen. But I always need to remind everybody, having sat in so many of those press conferences, that you get asked those questions, and Paul and Ali will know this. You come back and you talk player speak. You say, well, of course it would be an honor to play for Real Madrid, and of course Zinedine Zidane is wonderful. But I am happy at Manchester United. But nobody can tell what the future can hold. And that's what Pogba did. And if you really want to be conspiracy theorist, Dan, then you point to the fact that his contract is up in 2021, although he does have another year remaining. There's a club option after that. And so, maybe it might be time to start thinking about a new deal at United as well.
Could he have played this better, Pogba, when asked the question?
Of course he could have and should have. I mean, I can sit in that press conference right now and I can tell you, look, things are great right now at Manchester United. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has come in and really made a difference for me. I'm becoming the player that I think I could be in this club, and I'm very happy here. Thank you very much. Take care. Good night. I mean, that's it. That's all you have to say. Now, if this is his version of campaigning to possibly go to Real Madrid, I imagine that Paul Pogba has the power and the say to pick up the phone and get a hold of Zinedine Zidane and actually have a direct conversation with him, rather than put this out for us to chew on. So he is experienced enough to know that these questions are going to come. They're going to come, and they're going to keep coming. And the only way that you shut these questions down is by doing what I exactly did. Just look, I'm a Manchester United player, and I'll be a Manchester United player for the foreseeable future. Thank you.
But he
Drive
didn't.
home safely.
But he didn't.
No, of course he did.
It's interesting, Gab mentioned there Modric and Kroos. As it stands, Pogba walks into the team ahead of them without any question, doesn't he?
Well, so, Modric is getting on. I think he probably will be leaving in the summer. But, look, Solskjaer's done a fantastic job for Pogba. He's put him in the right position. He's got the protectors, Herrera and Matic, behind him. He's got the freedom to play. It seems as though he loves playing with Rashford and Lukaku and Lingard and so on and so forth. You can see the happiness when he scores goals. You can see the celebrations. That's a guy who's in sync with what the manager's trying to do for the team and for him. So why would you want to blow that up? It's not as if Manchester United is an also-ran football club. So I do think... I take on board exactly what Gab said, but I do agree with that. I think he should have chosen his words a little bit better. Not
only Pogba, though, that's flirting with Real Madrid.
No.
And let's face it, his is schoolboy stuff to compare to what Eden Hazard is doing at the moment. This is what Hazard said: as a player, there's no comparison. I have so much respect for Zidane. He's my idol. It's thanks to him I started playing.
Oh, boy.
Wow.
Gab, there almost just feels like an inevitability about Eden Hazard in a Real Madrid shirt at the start of next season.
Yeah, but you know what? It's not inevitable. We always need to remind ourselves of this, whether it's Hazard or Pogba. Real Madrid do not have infinite resources, despite what some people think. They've spent a lot of money on Eder Militao already. They can only buy one, possibly two absolute A-list superstars on top of that. And beyond that, if they want to buy more, they need to go and get rid of players. And it's difficult to get rid of Real Madrid players because they make a ton of money and they're coming off two straight, frankly, disappointing seasons in La Liga. So it's not that simple. So Eden Hazard, I think, is doing the right thing. He's told Chelsea, guys, I've been here. I will consider a new contract. But the reality is I also want to play for Real Madrid before I get too old. Real Madrid, another big club. Please respect that. Chelsea are respecting that. If the offer comes in the summer, he's going to go. If it doesn't come, because he's only got a year left in his deal, if it doesn't come, if they're not that interested in him, and Chelsea offer a new contract, which they will, then he's going to stick around. I think if there's one thing you can't fault Eden Hazard for is he's not being sneaky. He's not launching messages. He's been very straight up all along.
Is that why you kind of feel you give him a bit more of a pass than Pogba?
Yeah, but because not only has he been straightforward, but the message has been very clear. And now it's very clear. Sisu! Sisu! I'm right here! I'm right here, baby! I'm here for you! Come on.
He's gone.
He's gone?
He's gone.
Extra time, of course, always available on the website. You can always tweet your questions in at ESPN FC. Sometimes we go off some tangents. We're going to talk about Jose Mourinho for a while, haven't we? Well, this is what he had to say about managing again. I know exactly what I don't want. That is why I've turned down 3 or 4 offers. I know what I want, not the name of the club, but the type of work and the workload. He continues, I want to coach a team starting in June in time for pre-season. Well, we all want different things, don't we, Gab Marcotti? Will he get it, though? Will he get the chance at another big club, considering what happened at United?
I think there's a decent chance that he will get a shot, maybe not at the very biggest club. I think he might need to wait for that opening to come. But he himself has spoken about, a club with the ambition to go and be a big club. A comparison, a club like where Inter Milan were when he joined them. But it's funny, he mentions 3 or 4 job offers. He gave one of his first interviews after leaving United on January 19th. And he mentioned the 3 or 4 job offers he's turned down then. So that was more than 2 months ago. I'm surprised he hasn't gotten a couple more in the interim.
Detective Gab. You said in January 19th it was 3 or 4.
You said?
You'd be, as a fan, I'd be hesitant. As opposed to in the past, if Jose Mourinho came in, you thought, right, OK, this is a man that's going to win us trophies. That has somewhat diluted, hasn't it?
Yes, it's gone away, actually. And if I were advising Jose Mourinho, and I know he will listen to me, and I will tell him, Jose, it's time for you to walk away from club management. And it's time for you to take over a national team.
Right.
Because he just talked about workload. I think he's got to reduce the workload. I think he's got to focus on the 10 days he's got together with the national team camp, and then those players only come in and perform for him during that time, and then they go away. See, he has become a very sort of debilitating manager for players. And for whatever reason, whatever attention he brings to a club seems to have a negative impact on the performance of players. So maybe, since you're going to have him for a reduced period of time, you come in, you do your job, you go back to your club. And the same thing for him. He comes, focuses on that time, and then that's it. That's what I would do if I were him.
But this is a guy whose resume, you can argue, is second to none when you look at the other managers who are out there.
Absolutely, but it's that his recent career. I mean, look what he's done to football clubs. Look what he's done to owners. Look what he's done to teams, players, you name it. He's been very destructive. I don't think that any owner of a football club in their right mind would want to rehire him at the moment. If they do, they have got to delve very deeply into what his thought process is. I think if you read between the lines in those quotes, Dan, I think it screams out that he wants to work in international football. It just does. And whether the Portuguese job comes up or whatever, I think that's going to be the destiny of Mourinho.
We talked about pre-season training, though. That kind of all hints at club. Go on, Gab.
No, I was just going to say about the international job. He has talked in the past how he wants to manage Portugal one day. There's a bit of an issue, though, with Portugal, which is that Cristiano Ronaldo is still there. And, of course, Cristiano Ronaldo is the guy who's going to decide when he walks away. I would imagine that, Cristiano Ronaldo would rather walk around with a paper bag over his head for the rest of his life than have Jose Mourinho as his manager again. So that's really not an option right now. The other issue with him is he's really, really expensive. And, a big European team or a big South American team, they're not going to throw that kind of money at an international manager if on top of that, it's Jose Mourinho.
Gab, you mentioned Inter before, obviously considering the success he had there in the past, a club of that sort of stature. Is Inter probably at the top of the list that maybe you suggest that he could go to?
Well, it's funny because not in this interview, but in another one, when he brought up Inter, he talked about how the conditions were perfect, the job he did was perfect, everything was perfect. And for that reason, maybe he shouldn't go back there because it's never as perfect the second time around as we learned at Chelsea. I also suspect that, Inter don't feel that he's the right guy for them because remember, they've had financial fair play issues. They have an older squad. They have a very rich owner, but they also have restrictions. I don't know that there's this great appetite on the part of the club's owners. The fans might be a little bit different because, of course, they have nothing but happy memories. But, of course, Chelsea fans had nothing but happy memories of Jose Mourinho until he came back.
So what are we left with, Gab, when you take a look at the possibilities, if we focus on Europe and the big leagues? Premier League, none, you would suggest, yeah? None of the top six, I don't think, would go for Jose Mourinho. In France, there's really only PSG, and Tuchel's going to stay there. Italy, Spain, where can you see it happening? Where does it all fit for you?
I'm purely speculating here, so please bear that in mind, but that's what you asked. I think he wants another real top-tier job. And, if it gets to be sort of April and May and that doesn't materialize, I think he would consider moving to a job at the galaxy of clubs where his agent, George Mendes, has kind of put this friends. And so those are clubs, like Monaco, for example, for some kind of rebuild. Okay, Wolverhampton Wanderers sounds absurd, but there's an obvious connection there. Possibly Atletico Madrid, should Simeone move on. Possibly Valencia. I think his options would be something like that, or stick around, wait for the next big club to screw up and panic, and then go and go there the way, which is how, of course, he got to Manchester United in the first place.
Thanks, Gab. Just a reminder, a brand new Best of the Week drops tomorrow. You can check out some of the older ones over on the website. Good, Steve Nichols. Just a reminder, plenty more Euro qualifiers to come tomorrow. It is Moldova against France as the World Cup winners start up their qualification campaign. Meanwhile, Ronaldo, of course, back for Portugal as they take on Ukraine. A tester for them. It's Andorra, Iceland, Albania, Turkey, Bulgaria, Montenegro, Luxembourg, Lithuania, England against the Czech Republic, a game that I'm sure you're looking forward to, Paul. But away from that, Ty, what stands out for you? What are you looking forward to seeing?
The first thing is to see France once again. More importantly, because that gets Paul Pogba off of talking about where he's going to go and not going to go, and he just gets to playing, which is what he does best. So just play for your country, represent your country, and just be quiet for a second.
Yeah.
And just take a break from it all. Just represent your country and do it the way that you did in the World Cup.
I think the thing I'm looking to is Portugal, the way Ronaldo, we've seen what he does for Juventus this season. Getting him back into the fold now, he's just remarkable what he's able to achieve. And it's he seems to really, come into his own when he plays for Portugal. So I'm looking forward to seeing Ronaldo play.
Gentlemen, thank you very much. We'll, of course, be back tomorrow to take you through those games, plus discuss other talking points in the footballing world. Until then, goodbye. Welcome into the latest edition of ESPN FC. I'm Dan Thomas, joined by Ali Moreno and Paul Mariner. The European qualification process kicked off today for Euro 2020. In case you missed any of the goals, and I mean any of them, fear not. We have got you completely and utterly covered over the next half an hour. We'll start with Belgium. They were in action against Russia. The two favourites, in fact, from Group I going head-to-head. 14 minutes into this one, Belgium would take the lead. Some lovely build-up play, and in the end, Tielemans getting its first ever international goal.
Yeah, as you said, Dan, beautiful 1- and 2-touch football. Ball's laid off there to Tielemans. He just steadies himself, has a look where the goalkeeper is. Got a decent enough strike, strong enough to get it past the keeper. Oh, no.
Then Thibaut Courtois.
Oh, no.
That's a reason why Keylor Navas maybe should be for Real Madrid. Joseph making the most of
What is he thinking?
Yeah. Thibaut, clear it! Clear it! Catastrophic.
He's got to feel that pressure coming, hasn't he? He's got to do.
7 minutes ago in the first half, Batshuayi thought he made it 2-0, but for the goal line clearance.
Yeah, gets it out of his feet, on his right foot. Could he have gone near post? Possibly. He decides to go across the keeper. Here he is, just opens his body up nicely. Defender there on the line to clear.
Belgium, though, would make it 2-1 before the end of the half, thanks to a penalty as Eden Hazard was brought down here.
Controversial. Okay, maybe not. Maybe not nearly as controversial as one might have thought. Cherkov cannot move his feet inside and out by Eden Hazard. 100% a penalty, Eden Hazard. No problem.
Eden Hazard buries the spot kick to make it 2-1. Going into the second half. Not too many incidents here. 11 minutes to go in the game. Batshuayi hits the post.
Yeah, it comes from nice and sharp. I thought he did okay today, actually. Batshuayi on the left peg, hits the post.
And then Batshuayi with the assist.
Assist?
Yeah.
Set up Eden Hazard.
It's a classy touch, Paul. You see, you don't get it. You don't see the nuance of his game.
I most certainly do not.
Hey! That finishes Belgium 3, Russia 1 in Group I. And Eden Hazard, we're going to be talking about a lot, you feel, over the next couple of months with a possible move to Real Madrid. But what he does prove time and time again, when he plays, he's the best player on the pitch.
Yes, and no better example than this match. This game only became a game simply because of Thibaut Courtois and his horrendous mistake.
Yeah.
The difference between Belgium and Russia is very clear, it's very significant. Everybody can see that. But what also everybody can see is that when Eden Hazard gets the ball, the game changes. When he has that change of speed over a short distance and then over long distance, Belgium looks like a different team. Because he gives this team pace, he gives this team something different, he gives them the ability to beat players 1v1 situations, he can create for himself, he can create for others, and every time he moves, Russia moved with him. All the attention is on Eden Hazard, and he still gets 2 goals out of this. Eden Hazard simply at a different level.
I think that if you talk about Eden Hazard, he has always been a difference maker. But when he steps up onto the big stage as the captain of Belgium, he was the difference maker today. And he just proved, whether he's in open play or whether he's in close proximity to the goal, when the defenders are around him, you can't get too tight on this guy. You've got to get tight on him, otherwise he'll bury it. But if you get too tight, with his movement, he's absolutely terrific.
Meanwhile, the last time Scotland made it to a major tournament, Burley was playing. This was 1998. However, I was chatting to Steve Nicol yesterday, and he was saying, no, they're looking a lot better.
They look fantastic today.
That didn't last.
They were taking on Kazakhstan, who are ranked 117th.
Pardon?
Yes, indeed.
So that's not good.
In the world, 6 minutes in, though, it's the hosts who take the lead. Pertzak with a nice finish.
It's a great finish, but look, no pressure on the ball. Defenders decided not to track the run, not to go with the runner. That's a nice finish, yes, but defending, absolutely horrific.
It would get worse for the Scots 4 minutes later as Vorogovsky makes it 2-0.
The position of the left back is all wrong. He gets separated from the center back, leaves a gap wide open for Quad to play this beautiful ball across. And then Vorogovsky with a sliding finish, 2-0.
So then maybe the Scots can rally, get something going in the second half. Nope, 6 minutes after their break.
Look at the reaction of the defender. The defender's saying, what is he saying? Just attack the ball, that's your job. He allows the attacking player to head, yeah, it's a great ball across the face, that's what you're taught to do. But again, horrible defending.
Big surprise then as Kazakhstan win 3-0. Meanwhile, the remaining game in that group, Cyprus, taking on San Marino. A lot of penalties in this game. I like a bit of brass band. 18 minutes in.
Oh, dear. Well, referee in a great spot. Absolutely stonewall penalty. Hand where it shouldn't be. 100% pen and very nicely tucked away.
Yep, Sotiro steps up to make it 1-0, and then pretty much straight after that, another penalty awarded.
I didn't touch him. I didn't touch him. I promise you didn't. Well, no, yeah, you did. Yeah, you did. It's a penalty.
Yeah, and once again, it's Sotiro. No mistake, 2-0.
Very calm. Very calm.
And then 3-0. As we see, 3 goals in 8 minutes. Kusulus making it from close range.
Ball pops out on the edge of the box. Hint of offside. He's not bothered, just taps it in the back of the net.
This is the pick of all the goals at Ephraim.
Way. Yes.
Just massaging the ball.
Very nice.
Over the goalkeeper and into the net. Nice.
10 minutes into the second half. Nafis makes it 5-0.
Yeah, again, got to attack the ball if you're a defender. They do not. it's a nice glancing header, to be fair.
Job done for Cyprus, so it's them, Kazakhstan and Belgium at the moment at the top of Group I. Coming up this week, surely San Marino against Scotland. They can't mess that up, can they?
I don't know. It's touch and go.
Meanwhile, Northern Ireland taking on Estonia. I imagine Paddy McNair was not watching Paul Mariner videos before the start of this game. Because, Maris, this is your range with your head.
Well, he did exactly what we taught to do. That's head it down. But he put a little bit too much juice on it.
Very down. Straight down.
Yeah, that was very down. Yeah, you're right. I mean, it's an absolute dolly. I mean, look, the net should be absolutely bulging.
Let's take it into the second half, though, as McGinn makes it 1-0.
Kyle Lafferty does well with the hold-up play in a crowded area, able to get across the defender. Maybe his head is in an offside position, not given. Good layup, good finish.
Now, 17 minutes to go in the game, penalty awarded. Initially, the ball is cleared out. But then as it comes back in, the challenge here on the edge of the box.
Yeah. Well, Saville, for me, Saville was fouled. It was dangerous foot. Very, very dangerous. Some people say minimum contact. Was it inside, outside? It was inside.
Which people?
Yeah, who are those people, Paul?
A couple of people.
Yeah.
Stephen Davis, your Estonian friend.
Estonian pals.
Make it 2-0. Meanwhile, the Dutch, of course, didn't make it to the World Cup, or indeed the last Euros, looking to change that here as they were taking on Belarus, and it would be an absolute gift. Take a look at the clock. 47 seconds in, Depay 1-0.
Well, credit to Depay. I mean, he reads the situation, the defender does not. Jumps on the terrible back pass. But what a lovely little finish that was with the outside of his right foot.
What a lovely little ball from the outside.
It was a fantastic, but great read to the lad. I mean, the lad's playing really well for Netherlands in that number 9 spot.
20 minutes later, it's 2-0. Wijnaldum with the goal.
Okay, Memphis Depay.
Wow.
A little bit of filth and vision, picking out the run on Wijnaldum, coming from behind. Little hold-up play, little filth. Happy City for Wijnaldum.
Beautiful.
9 minutes into the second half, penalty for the Dutch. Sivakov with the foul.
Well, just a little bit. I mean,
I didn't see it. What?
I mean, I just have oh dearie me. Wow. Yep, penalty. Depay steps up.
Boom.
No danger whatsoever.
Thank you very much. 3-0. And what a year it has been for Van Dijk, favourite to win the Premier League Player of the Year, and he'd get the 4th goal for the Dutch.
Unselfish by Depay.
He's on a hat-trick.
He was in a hat-trick. It's like from here, it's like, all right, I got this. Oh, gets his head up, finds Van Dijk at the back post.
Are we sure that's a cross?
We're going to give it to him.
Yeah.
Let's be nice.
Netherlands then with a 4-0 win. They top the table with Northern Ireland. Of course, out of all these matches that are taking place over the next few days, the big one, no doubt about it, is the Dutch against Germany, that match on Sunday. Now, just to remind you, if you ever miss a show, I understand that maybe the highlights don't quite translate that well on the podcast, but we also